So hello humans. Before, as he said that I am not the funny kind of guy, but it's like I am not of this corporate-y, event type of guy. So I want everybody to talk, and I hope that we all will talk. Not only me blabbering around what the gyan, because there is nothing new which I have done over there. It's all on the internet. I am just being that alchemist that I have joined the dots and I'm presenting to you. So before I start, I really like the design presented by Karan, right? So at least, being a designer from India and now I am like working from Dublin, I see that there is a lot of scope in design in India. There are only top 3 colleges in India which are actually giving seats to designers, and there is no company like top MNCs who actually hires engineers in lot, like, give me 300 from this college, give me 500 from that college. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is that there is a lot of scope, and since the topic is that, okay, so the topic is the design revolution. How design started, like overall in the globe, like, I see that a lot of you guys are from really very past and not the guys who will be, much adhering to the current design. Before I get lost in the track, I don't know what I'm speaking, I'll just continue. So this is the show off slide. I have worked and interacted with all of them in some way or other. And there are more clients around that. It's not like that I work in one company and jump off to other. It's always like, so being a designer, it's being like, you want more and you want some diverse experience in all the different fields around that. And this is what we are going to do, but why we are going to do this. So I want to ask how many designers we have here. Okay, so there are 2 types of designers for me, pure breed and half breed. So half breed are like me, being an electronics engineer from Mumbai University and then turned into a designer. How many of you are like in the league with me? Great. And pure breed designers are who have actually done, like, designing, arts, drawing, craft. Like they had Photoshop in their curriculum in college. Okay, no one. Oh, okay, there are. Okay, thank you. So it's a balanced kind of thing over here. So let's go to the far past, like how things were evolving over there. Like, there were machines and there were humans. Before machines, there were only humans, and there were animals and, cavemen and Homo sapiens and all the guys. So the role of the machine was just to help user or the humans to do the task efficiently. And the role of humans was just to use the machine. Like if I want to give you an example for that, if you want to imagine the pulleys and, all those cranes which were invented, like, before, like, say 100 years back, and that was like done by the humans out there. There was no machine. It was just a crate out there, and 10-15 humans were pulling that block and they built the pyramids with that. And so somebody thought that, rather than powering humans with, strength and body, why don't we build something like, a machine which can pull that. So it's like, I have read that thing somewhere that, the guy who invented the car, I don't remember the name, but he said that, okay, I don't want to power the horse. I don't want to make a horse which is a robot pulling the crate. I want to do something to the crate. So that's how the car got invented, where now people would have been actually injecting horse and there were robot horses actually pulling the sleighs out there. So somebody has to think, like differently from the different perspectives, and those are the guys like us, designers, who can actually think, and they are not doing that. So let's go from very like real past. So real past as in this. How many of you saw? I hope everybody, right? Like regularly? Great. Almost, yes. So I understood this cartoon like a few years back when I actually came into designing, because after this cartoon there was another cartoon coming called the Jetsons, like exactly after 6:30, and these guys were actually walking in that car with their legs, and the Jetsons were flying in their the spaceships out there. So तभी कुछ नहीं समझ में आया था. Now I feel that okay, the guys who are actually making these things are making you understand that, okay, this is how the world is going to evolve, like from there to this. And it is always being evolved like that. So think of humans out there before, in all those ages where they used to make these things. This is a handmade axe, how to make an axe and cut things out there. And today we have axe being made by, if you have seen the Avengers, so you saw how the axe is being made today. So the things are changing, but axe is still made, right? Why not something like else is being made? It's like axe tabhi bhi ban raha tha, abhi bhi wahi ban raha hai. So I have a very good resemblance with that 100 years ago people used to kill animals, hunt animals and eat them, cook them and stuff like that. And they used to draw those things in the wall. The things which we actually go for Ajanta, Ellora caves and things, we see the paintings out there, that this is how the history was. Do you guys feel that that's the thing which we are still doing today? Like, I'm going to check in today at my Facebook wall that I came here. So that wall has just become Facebook wall, right? So humans will never change. They did that thing on the wall that time and they are doing that thing in the wall this time. So the point which I'm trying to tell is, humans will always remain the same. It's the tools which are actually getting changed, and what blunder which we as designers are doing, I'll just let you through that. And when design revolution started, I still remember Steve Jobs standing like here with the iPhone, that okay, this is what my team made and I'm going to sell that. And they came up with this DTRAM's all 10 principles around that, skeuomorphism, getting the real physical thing into the digital so that it resembles with the human touch, and you can use the digital things easily. Like if you want a DJ system to be used on your laptop, so it should look like a DJ system. A bookshelf should look like a bookshelf on your phone or app. And this is the the great grandfather of Adobe Photoshop, if we know that. So they made this thing like a artist table out there. Okay, there is a page and there is a color dropper out there. People used to paint like this before. So the point was to get the physical world into the digital thing. So what we see should be there on the digital so that humans will accept it. So it is user friendly. That was the big point there. So please remember this slide, because there is going to be a drastic change around that. The big point has been changed completely. So 1994, I think, I don't remember the name when the iPhone was launched, but in few years, like in 2007, I got this from Google that okay, when skeuomorphism was dead. So this is where it's like done. Now nobody wants to have those gradient, round, watery looking buttons on your phone. So something else rose up was the flat design. So what people did was, so people, as in I'm talking about the designers at big agencies, is this thing getting recorded? Okay, so when you publish to internet, do let me know, because I can tell the names upfront, like Google, IBM and all those great guys. The designer sitting over there, they decide that okay, what theme should go there, and they just remove everything from the button gradient nikal diya, and they made a circle again, and okay, this is the new guideline for you guys, you have to follow. And what designers and half-breed engineers like me do, they look up there, okay, this is the thing and this is going to give me a job and this is what I'll do. So it's not their fault, it's the fault is like in the system, that okay, nobody is telling them that okay, why you are doing this, because of those guys. The present is the material. Everybody saw the Google I/O, right? The new material 2.0 has came. Kya kiya wo log ne? They made a paper first. Now they have cut the paper from the corner. Like if you know what I mean, right? If you have seen those design guidelines, like really, so they invented material design, like somebody were scribbling on the paper and desk pe paper pada tha, and there was a very nice light from the top and it had a very good shadow. And somebody clicked a very high definition photo of that. Oh, this can be a new guideline, let's give that. And it was so simple, not not in the opposition of those things, because that made the life of the developers very easy. Because if I see that when I started designing, there was no material design and developers were making apps like I cannot imagine right now, because it will give me panic attacks, because you see the default buttons which Android developers, anyone? Okay, no, offense, but they have a tendency of getting everything, default. And I'm like, okay, this is not how you should do it. And hence the Google guys have invented those guidelines for those guys and not for the designers. So they never told that, okay, these guidelines are for the the developers and not for the designers. But designers feel that, yeah, ready mil raha hai na. Let's download that sketch file or PSD file and let's put the components on our file and let's give it to the developers like that. This was the material design. Fluent design, everybody knows about that? Fluent design. Okay, so Fluent design is the another like player in the market by Microsoft actually. So I'm really a great fan of this design because they never restricted themselves to only desktop or mobile screens. They have HoloLens with them, they have smartwatches, they have that Surface Pro and stuff like that, and they know that things are going to come out of the screen someday or later in the VR or in holograms or anywhere, and they made these guidelines very well with that by following these guidelines that they have proper light out there, they have depth, motion, material, scale. Now if you think of this thing and this thing, everything which you see, this is future, right? What we are doing here, just see this thing and imagine skeuomorphism. What was the difference between skeuomorphism and this? The only thing that nobody explained skeuomorphism in these 5 points. Because now what we are doing is this. So we took everything from physical world and digital mein dal diya that it should look same. Now we are getting all the digital stuff to physical. Like this. We played game digital, right? ठीक है, मोबाइल में खेल के थक गया, बाहर खेलो. पहले बाहर ही खेल रहे थे ना. So why are we doing this? So the point is that when we don't let go the computer or screen, we will always confuse the users out there. The UX decisions made will be of like those days where Steve Jobs and Johnny Ive were making iPhone 4 or iPhone 3 or iPod or something like that, because the mental models were different that time. When the mouse was invented, when there were those, I don't know, those cards they have, they used to insert that in computer, and that's a hard-coded code out there. And the things got invented and revolutionized in a way that something should change and everything should change. This thing should not change. That thing should not change. But what we are doing today is we are not coming out of the screen. We, as in, I'm talking about 90% designers in India, because I don't blame them that okay they are, because it's like if you want a job in UI/UX design, which I hate, the designation should not even be there on internet itself, because zameen asman ka farak hai between a UI and a UX designer. But today, no offense to the startup founders, but startup founders see a designer like a walking live Photoshop guy, because he makes them do the wireframes, he makes them do the Facebook cover photo also. So they expect everything. It's not their fault also. So it's like again that the system, when we blame the system, right? Okay, corruption, it goes back to the head and it comes back to you itself. So it is like that in this also. So you expect that a designer wants to just focus only on wireframes, research and everything. They get inspired by a lot of talks on TED and everything, and they will only focus there, and they will go in an interview and mein puchenge, do you know how to mask a layer? Like a wireframe guy, a research guy who has done all these years only research and how to make good reports and presentations, and they ask them how to mask a layer in Photoshop because they want a Facebook cover photo and to be updated, because startups are like they should move fast. I agree that okay, one designer should take care of everything, but not always expect that ke ye sab kar lega. So it is good for a designer that to become a generalist, that usko sab aa jayega design karne ko, he'll make the cover photos, he'll design the visiting cards. I'll give you my example. When I started designing, being an electronics engineer, my relatives in my village think that they still think that I design visiting cards, because for them design is like either fashion design, or if I explain them that I make something on the screen which looks nice, they are like, are you doing architecture? like because it's like colorful and stuff. Do you paint, design? So I was a good artist, painter and stuff in school, so they know that I do something with colors, but they have literally no idea about I do something on the screen, or what is UX, how to do research, all those jargons and everything. They still think that, and I still get calls that, okay, I have started a new catering service, will you design a logo and business card for me? They don't even speak logo. They are like, design a business card for me, and they don't have a logo there. Speaking of logo, that logo design services which ResellerClub has started, I would like to take that conversation offline soon, because it's a good thing to have. I am feeling that Envato and Creative Market and all the Graphic River thing, imagine, and being born again in India like that, which is a good thing to do, being Startup India, and something should come out of India, but not like what is that name Patanjali started recently? Kimbo, right? So we hope that that line is being drawn there, that the wheel is not reinvented again just because it's from India, because Indians are always seen. I'll tell you from Dublin, when I speak to people out there, that what do you think of Indian designers or Indian people, what they can do, and they can do awesome business, guys. I can tell you that nobody else is doing business like India is doing. And सबसे ज़्यादा पैसा इंडिया में पड़ा है पूरे वर्ल्ड में. Forget America, forget England, forget UK. The money which we have, actually nobody else has it, and people say that कि अंग्रेज लूट के चले गए, कुछ नहीं चले गए वो लोग. It's still there, maybe in some other banks, but yeah. So it's there. So I was getting diverted from the topic. So this is the point which I was telling, was that we should let go the screen as our limitation. Like, try to design WhatsApp like if there is no mobile or web screen out there. If you can think of something, then try to redesign chat for any other applications which you do. Like Zomato बोलता है यार chat चाहिए मुझे. Why do you want chat in Zomato? Like every other application which is actually good in their own field, everybody wants to chalo chat feature डालते, because product guy has told us it will give you a lot of numbers and user engagement, and it will increase the user, and they show those charts over there, the correlation chart, and this is the crest and all the stuff. So, and then the designers, bichare designers are like redesigning the chat interface. So designers out there, if you ever come across any chat application, WhatsApp ka UX छाप देना, because it's best, right? They have done like lot of research out there, and they have made the WhatsApp so feasible and powerful that everybody is so user friendly with WhatsApp, right? Imagine you just change the color of WhatsApp with your brand colors and integrate that thing with you. People will be more happy to use that rather than using animated chat bubbles coming out, like giving you an example of Skype or Google Allo. So it's the same chat application. I still don't have an answer that why people are doing that. The best example is Patanjali ka Kimbo thing. Like I just had a notification in my InShots app that the app is designed by a former Google employee. Like, wow. She says that I always being designing in Oracle and Google and stuff out there, I always wanted to design something for India, and rather than designing a good education system out there and giving good gyan to the new upcoming designers, she just redesigned the WhatsApp, and she is telling that this is the competitor for WhatsApp. Kyun? So the learnings from the whole revolution, so it is going to change. Everything is going to change always. Like I was talking about blockchain with, I still again forgot the name. So and like blockchain and UX are running parallelly. So I'm working closely with government on a thing called India Chain. Anybody have heard about India Chain? So Amitabh Kant, CEO of Niti Aayog, and his team are like really doing some cool stuff out there. If you check the government website today, it is better than some good, nice MNC website which I won't name. It looks better. So government is actively doing a lot of research out there, in front of with the users which we have, because the diversity of users which we have in India, nobody else has it. Because in colors itself, not being a racist, we have a lot of diversity. Because Angrez is like, we have just mainstream that Angrez is like Angrezi, right? The white guys. So they don't have that diversity. They focus totally on design. You all know the awards website, right? We see inspiration from awards and Dribble and everything. Have you ever selected the location India in awards and see there are only 2 websites coming out? Will be some 2015, 2014 mein. Why there are no websites coming in awards, or they just make websites to get awards on that award website. Like guy from a small country, not a small country, but a country like Ukraine, country like Israel, or some random country, and they are like 2 developers and 1 designer. They are just making a website which looks wow, and they just get award on that award website. Kyun karte ho log? Because they don't know business. And we know that very well, that we can sell anything and everything over there. So we can design better solutions, and we will design better solution for the greater good. But for that, we have to really change our the concept and the perspective that we have to design for people and not for clients. I see that when people or the designers get experience, so I have only 3 years of experience. I started my design in 2015, and I have done all those things. And I get calls and emails and everything from my friends and from everywhere that, okay, why don't you start your own design studio? You should have your own brand identity. I don't have my single project uploaded online anywhere. I don't want to show that to the world. This is my way of giving back to the community, because this is what I have learned in my community. Other way is that they do their projects, they should, put up their things on Behance and Dribble, and people get inspired from that, and not the Indian guys. So the guys out there, they just make projects out of passion, and that is what inspires the Indian guys to become UI UX designers. Have you ever heard of a startup story which is from a designer? We give examples. So I give examples like Airbnb started. The co-founder is the designer, right? Everybody knows that. As a startup in India, that that it is the design is the basic foundation of that startup. I worked with Let's Venture. Let's Venture is a startup in Bangalore which helps startups to get funded. They have 20,000 startups and 3,000 investors from all over India. And I designed the whole ecosystem for them in 2016, where the app is like Tinder. Investor will have that app, and the right swipe to talk to the founder and left swipe to not to talk to the founder. So rather than reinventing a new experience, I just use the Tinder ka full research out there, and I just put that to startups and investors. Without sharing your contact information and email ID, you can still talk to the founder, so that founder does not irritate or annoy the investors later. So that was good. So Let's Venture, what I've learned that when I went to pitch my idea, which was augmented reality app for kids, that you scan the app on the book, a Jack and Jill story, it will just extrude from the book, and that thing is animating out there. The investors were very happy. Oh wow, kya banaya tumne? But the Indian market is not ready for that, so we won't even entertain you anymore. So that's what the investors are telling. So if there is an idea which is coming out there, and there is no appreciation or respect coming out from the guys who are actually experienced out there in business, right? Because they always see that it should make money, because our mindset is like that, right? Everybody wants to become Haldirams, without much investing in digital and just doing business, and which is a good thing. I'm not telling it's not a bad thing, but it's a thing that the Indians are like that. But since we are evolving, we know that, okay, this is happening. I have been a guest lecturer in IIT Bombay and MIT and all the design colleges out there, where I always say that everybody will tell you that, okay, make me this, make me that, ye bana do, cover photo bana do, and always give them. There are always solutions for that. If you are hired as a UX designer and they tell you to make Facebook cover, don't make it in Photoshop. Use Canva. Ready-made de do unko. And tell them that ke itne mein itna hi milega. I'll tell them upfront. If you are asked to do your task which you actually want to do and you are good at that, invest your time and interest in that. But never ever say no that ke main nahi karunga. I see a lot of designers which are my friends. They are like, they get offended, very offended. And designers are like that. They are like, if you say that, okay, I don't like this blue color, and they make that face. You can imagine that face, and they are like, that blue color is because of the brand guidelines, ethics and stuff, and then they say those 4 lines, and the founder is like impressed. And those 4 lines are everywhere. Even when they design a small circle or button, right, a rounded button ka concept is because, the fingers are round. Hence, I am using rounded buttons on my apps, which is a good psychological point, but not necessarily, right? You can use different shapes of button, you should support your theory. So, we have to change our mindset and perspective that we are designing for people. And apart from people, I would like to say users and humans, because not only people are users, right? Someday in future, we are going to design some machines which are for pets, automatic food dispenser which are there, and humans are not the users for that, right? So always calling people as users is the best thing, because keep in mind that, okay, users are not always humans. The learnings, these are the 10 principles of data RAM, which I'm not going to explain because I don't know if it is visible out there. But these are the basic rules which should apply to each and every product out there. Nothing new. This guy is still living out there and he's not getting that much bhav in design world. And guys who are getting bhav in design worlds are like me. I'm not even getting bhav. Like the guys are like who are speaking too much and getting in limelight. He never comes to any speaker sessions and give gyans. He's like, this is what I have defined and that should happen. And he said that Apple, when Steve Jobs made that iPod and the first iPhone, right, was the only product which he saw that was following all these designs. And if Steve Jobs was alive today, and he would have never let Apple Pen actually come into the market, because I still don't see the use of that. Again, like physical thing going into digital, and now, you see that videos and memes, like, the keyboard is being projected on your screen from your band or some device. Everybody must have seen that, right? What's the point of that? I still don't have any clue. They were physical typewriters. They made those typewriters and put those typewriters as keyboards in the screen. Now people are like, kuch to naya chahiye. They got that keyboard again projected outside. So as I'm telling that they are restricted to the screens. People think that ki screen is sab kuch hai to interact. Alexa, everybody, how many of you are using Alexa or any Google Home device or something AI? That thing is future. Imagine, like, I use Alexa and I have Google Home and Alexa both at my place. And I have my Mac and I interact with all three of them at once. It's fun. Just for fun I do that. Nothing new, productive comes out of that. If you have a lot of time, please do that. What you will see is, when you ask Alexa that, what do you think about Siri, and there is a newborn baby in Google called Duplex. So the babies will always get born, but don't ever think that that is new. Remember Clippy? Yeah, so Clippy is the great grandfather who was the AI of that world, who used to come out pop from that computer box and say that, okay, this is what you should do. So, think from that perspective that nothing is going to change. What is going to change is the way you present it. So these are the principles, but I have just curated few principles out of that, and combining everything, the design revolution, and getting out of the screen. And these are the few pointers which I would like to convey, and the takeaways from the whole talk will be these: that go beyond and do no harm. Go beyond as in go beyond your computer screen. Think of something else out that, and always whenever you are designing something, just for a second just think that screen nahi hoti to kaisa hota. So that's where your inner designer, if you are will actually give you an answer ki ye possible nahi hai, or this is how you could have interacted. I have taken a lot of interviews out there, and I have given one task to them, that design WhatsApp if there was no mobile screen out there. And there was only one guy which I remember that it's not possible unless telepathy is invented. So chat mein nothing new can happen right now. What can happen? So I'm working, so I'm leading a design now, so I'll tell a gist about, I cannot say much about that what I'm working on, because it is maybe directly or indirectly competing with the reseller guys. So, so what we are trying to do is, we are sort of redesigning the internet itself. So imagine the data leak thing happened, right, at Facebook. So your data is not your data. Obviously it's not your data. Everybody knew that, but किसी ने बोला नहीं ऐसा खुल के publicly. So if something happens, everybody knows that that पूरी कायनात लग जाती है if somebody is actually in pain, and everything just goes in the flow. So it was always facebook.com/Nikunj Ladani, and that's the data. So Facebook is allowing me to use their portal to upload my data, and you are telling that कि user का data है तुम ले रहे हो, तुम पहले ही upload कर रहे हो उसके पास, and then you are telling that कि ये मेरा है. Now the same thing, I don't know why it is not being pointed, or maybe there are a lot of money with those guys, but imagine Gmail. I still get answers like, Gmail is very private, man. I love Gmail. It's my personal. क्या personal है उसमें? Gmail.com is Google. they are letting you use their thing to talk to some other guys. They are reading your emails, obviously, and then you are telling that they are reading my emails. They are reading, you are reading their emails. It's your email ID @gmail.com. It's not gmail @yourdomain.com, right? So what we are doing out there in the startup where I'm working is that it will literally have you own a piece of internet. That will be yours. You do whatever you want to do that. Because as land was divided before, kings and monarchs and came and colonizing and stuff, everything, and then slowly sabko gyan aaya and they are like, I want to own my land. And today everybody wants to own their land. Sabko apna ghar chahiye. But parallelly, when internet was born, internet is also a world right now. And there is nothing you own. There are only 6 to 7 companies who are ruling the internet. It's everything. They are letting you communicate because you are the slaves for them. Someday, all those internet guys, if they, gather in that black dark meeting, like it happens in the Shield and Avengers and comic movies, and they're like, let's, doom everyone, doom the humanity out there. And they'll just imagine they delete everything in one click. Iceland, mein all the servers are there and everything, and sab food kya hai then? What will you guys do? All your data is not now hard code, stored somewhere in paper somewhere out there. It's all digital out there. So the point was, again, going back from the topic and coming back again, that go beyond and do no harm, as in always follow the proper ethics and guidelines and respect that, okay, somebody has done this, and they are following these 5 steps of designing, that you should do the information architecture and make user journeys and blah, blah, blah. And if you see something coming out of that, always respect that and never skip anything if you really want to do something in that. Listen, learn and absorb. Good listeners are always the best designers. That's what I feel. But you should always speak as much as you listen, because the more you listen, the more you know that, okay, this is what that person is telling. So the invention of, or you can say when designers were born, like how the designer, the UX designer precisely was coined. That's my theory, that there were only engineers and doctors before designers, before UX designers. So mechanical engineers build those stuff. They have like 100 buttons on their plate, and some button may does this thing, and something starts the machine and something stops. So somebody wants that, okay, make kuch color code kar do usko, so that I remember that which button to start and which not to. And slowly the guys who were telling that thing to those guys became the designers out there. And slowly when those the levers which you see in those big machine things and all, they were only handles, right, which you pull the lever out there, and the things started working. And the complaint must be that it gets slipped out of hand, and the lever is not that good. So they invented a knob on that lever. So now it's more good for a hand. So who gave that idea? So the psychologists who actually know the human, right? So the psychologists are the guys who actually knows that how humans are interacting with each other. So psychologists and the machine engineers, the intersection becomes the UX designers. They know the user, they know the execution, that okay, this is how the user is going to feel. So listen, learn and absorb. See everything from a designer's hat if you really want to do something in design. And even to the non-designers, what I would like to convey is that, okay, always listen to everything and absorb whatever you can from anyone you are going forward. Measure, share and teach. Measure, though I don't have to say much, because we all measure everything today. And it's like the research happening, and measure is the only thing why we are doing and doing jobs and having our companies out there. Because if we don't measure the analytics or the money or the profit and everything, nobody is ever going to give out to anyone. And hence there will be no design centered startup coming out in India which will run on their own, and there will be no Sequoia or some other VC cap running behind the startups that mera paisa le lo, because they want numbers. So we should learn from the founders of the companies based out of US. You should see the decks and everything, the Airbnb founders, how they have placed design in their startup, but they are not promoting upfront that, okay, this is design centric. They are making sure that the product is design centric. You can see it from the product, the thought process and the way they talk and the pitch decks and everything. You see that, okay, that's design. But they don't tell that upfront, okay, this is all, my only USP is design. Nobody will actually give you money for that if you do that. So always show numbers but with a good design. So the basic example is that I have my startup running called Pitch Patel. I'm a Patel. So when I was at Let's Venture, a lot of startups came for help that, okay, you can do good things, you can, being a Gujarati, you sell things nicely and you are a designer, so you sell your designs nicely. I'm like, yeah, I'm good at that, so what do you want? And they wanted me to design their pitch decks. So I do that. And now they are asking me to actually present their idea in front of investors because they cannot present it well. So it's all about, presenting. It's like, either you sell yourself or you sell your idea. And there are no third type of people out there involved. Being optimistic but critical. Always think that कि ठीक है, ये चलने वाला है, ये नहीं भी चल सकता है. But don't let your design judgment out there, crumble the design or whatever you have done. We don't need do-gooders, we need people who are really good at what they do. And let that be anything. That's what I got this from Google again, because I really liked the thing and it was matching. So even if that person is good at sleeping or taking breaks and all, so I hired a designer in my startup who does, so if you give them work right on Monday and deadline is Friday, that guy will start work on Friday. He will not do anything all 4 days, and I will not even ask him that, okay, what are you doing in 4 days, because that guy has a habit of working under pressure, that deadline aa raha hai paas mein, I will do my best. I tried that, will you prepare from Monday just once? Will you try? And he's like, I will try, just observe me carefully. And I was sitting next to him for the whole week. He was trying out there and he was just sitting in front of Dribble and Behance and looking at that, okay, this is what I should do. This is what I can do. And he did a bad thing when he started from Monday. And the best thing came out only when he was working under pressure in the close deadline. So these things we should always understand. That not everybody can come at 8:30 and leave at also 8:30 at 9. So if you make them come at 8:30 on time and everything, you also should be happy when they are leaving at 6:30 or 5. So the point is that always think from their perspective that, okay, what other guys are going to tell. Think big and have no fear. If think big as in not that big that you try to go to human mind and think of telepathy and something very cool, that so it's like you should not think like that, but always be ready to take the risks, that if this may or may not work, it's okay, it may or may not work. Do not reinvent the wheel. This is the point which I would like to put more bold, but it was not consistent, because this is what we should always keep in mind. The chart is just the example, because it's the issue I am facing with my startup is that in a product which I just explained where the internet is reborn and stuff like that, they still want a chat feature in that. Let every product you have, everybody wants a chat feature in that. I don't know why they want chat feature in that, because just that the computer should communicate with the users, not necessary, right? Let them do their own job. Chat banana hai to make a chat feature, right? Own up and repair. Always take whatever things if you have done, you feel that, okay, this is wrong, take the beat for that and have that stomach to take the punch that, okay, this is what you did wrong, and accept it. So if you hired someone who was not good, tell him upfront that, okay, will you be the guy, please leave, or just I'm giving you a few days to work, etc. Do what you know and don't do what you don't know. So if you think that, okay, so I'm a designer, I don't know how to make cool animations in After Effects, so I will not be like, okay, if you are giving me money, then I will make it. I don't know, I will just pass it on to some other designer. So always do what you are good at, and never try to be, jack of all and stuff. But there is a fine line in that, being inspired from Elon Musk, that, okay, he is running parallel, companies out there which are not even related to each other. But there is a gap out there. It takes time that, okay, what to do and what not to do. But you have to start with what actually you know out there, and then try to learn something else. So example is like, if somebody wants to go into design field and they are much inspired about, I want to make things look cool, like wow design and all, and they not get inspired by VR and AR design stuff which is actually coming in future. They should first learn the basics that, okay, this is how the app is actually designed. And before apps, this is how the products are actually designed. If you want to design a chair out there, what is the experience and what are the points you have to take care of that. Always put the user first. This is the golden rule of designing everything. And that's all. As in, so those pointers were like, I'll share the PPT and you guys will have it. I'll share it with these guys and they may email you. And see all those pointers, and see, I have been talking, maybe the dots are not connected what I was talking about, because I also don't know what I was talking about in few things. But the overall conclusion is that think from a different perspective out there, because as I want to conclude that, okay, this is what the design revolution it is that okay, it always starts with the human and it is always going to end with the human, and humans are always the same. Never try to do something else with the humans or they will never accept it. For some moment there will be a spike like Pokemon Go Naya Aya, wow, this is so cool, and people made lot of money out of there from that, and then it just went away, right? Why did it went away? So think those questions out there. So WhatsApp, after like couple of years, when Hike, WeChat, Line and all the competitors were doing cool stuff, like really cool stuff, better than WhatsApp. Jab WhatsApp mein calling feature nahi tha, nobody could even share a document. All those guys were doing cool, right? Telegram and all. But still WhatsApp ne kabhi release hi nahi kiya. You know, they were like, we don't give a fuck. Like, nahi karna hai. They released it right now after acquisition and all. That is a separate thing. But think like that कि क्यों नहीं किया वो लोग ने. So if I am a startup founder right now, and if I am doing something and I see that a competitor is also doing something, I'll be like, I also do that, वरना वो मेरा market ले लेगा, right? And that's how Indian market it is. You see Zaveri Bazaars, there is not only one shop, a jeweler shop in one area. There are 10 in the line and all of them are working. This is another question which I am not, getting answer for that. How all of them are working? They all sell the same thing and gold ka price bhi to same hota hai. Still, and that's where it starts, right? Everybody wants to do everything because Indians are like, he is earning from that and he is doing all this thing in Mumbai, I'll do it in Hyderabad. And it is going to work. And the reason which they give is like, I'm giving you a lot of opportunities for people to work. I'm giving job employment to everybody. And that's how ShopCluse is getting funding, man. Flipkart, Snapdeal, Amazon, eBay and all those को छोड़ के, the things are actually working out there, and ShopCluse, who just came after like lot of years, and still they are getting funding. There are reasons for that. You may know the answer. I don't have to be that blunt that okay, why they are getting funding for that. But if we go in that loop, right, that okay, this is how we make money and this is how we make profit, the designers will always be like 2 out of 100 in India or wherever we are there. So it's like us, all of us who are actually experienced in business and know how to deal with things, they should give a very good spot to designers that okay, they can do things, because it's us who are expecting that okay, designers should do everything. Designer फिर portfolio भी वैसे बनाता है that I'll just look at few other apps from Dribbble and Behance and all, and I'll put it online, and this is my portfolio, please give me a job. Because you see there are 15 seats of user experience design in one college. And total there are around 100 or 150 or maybe 200 seats all over India just to teach design, and जिसकी ज़रूरत सबसे ज़्यादा है design में. But it is not increasing because there is no demand, and there is no demand because nobody cares. Ready-made, you go to freepik.com, you download everything and put it in your slide. Not being offensive about the logo design thing, but when a logo or rebranding or anything is happening out there, there is always a good amount of thought always being put about put on that logo or rebranding things. So jab tak these logos and everything freely available honge na, tab tak nobody will actually respect designers out there. And it's true, right? And designer will say that okay, it's like Picasso ka saying, he made that painting in 3 minutes and he's like, I'll charge $5,000 for that, because he took like 15 years, 20 years to make that painting in 3 minutes. And the same story with designers, right? Designers को बोलेंगे नहीं तुमके 4 दिन सोचने के लिए I'll give you that much money. Nobody will ever pay that. So point is that accept that. Okay, ठीक है. Let's see what you can do in 4 days and think all that. So again the conclusion, and again got I diverted from this. I just conclude this. That's all. So learn from the revolution and think that okay, it's not always making screens for computers or mobile or anything. Imagine that if you are a good designer or developer or founder or anyone who you are, job is the one thing which you do which is actually going to give you money, and your passion is survived out there. But what else you can do with your skills? There is a lot to do, because I'm going to Kenya next month, where there is a group of doctors I'm taking there, and I'm like, if there is a problem in your village, which is a health problem, never ever think of becoming an engineer or something else or a developer. Become a doctor and solve that problem of your village. So in India, if you go to a village and inspire them about becoming doctors and engineers, and उनके गांव में पानी नहीं है, so वो लोग डॉक्टर बन के क्या पानी थोड़ी लाएंगे, वो लोग पानी का पैसा लेंगे, that is different thing, but they should become architects and they should build dam in their village, right? So the kids should be taught, that thought should be injected in those kids in this way, that solve the problem which is around you. You saw those photos coming out that 2025 mein Pakistan will run out of water, and all this global warming thing happening and all, and we are doing what? Nothing, like Indian police. होने के बाद we'll do something, like rather than stopping pollution out there, and we are taking measures, plastic ban ho gaya and stuff like that, but what if we can use the pollution and make something? So I have my friend out there who is, the startup name is ResellerClub. किसने सुना है ResellerClub के बारे में? So they use the pollution from the cars and everything, the exhaust, and they make ink out of that, and you can literally make drawings and use that ink in the markers. Like, I'm not going to stop you from using your petrol, because nobody could have done that, and people are trying since years. But what I can do is like the after effects, I can reduce the after effects. So that's all. I will not stop talking. I have a lot of things to share. I think I should end right now, and I'll catch up later with you guys offline. So thank you so much for listening, and I'll make sure that I'll send the PPT out and you may connect the dots what I was talking about. Thank you so much, guys.